Hello, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, today you are going to learn responding to a click event on client side with applying of JavaScript. How to create a handling like a events from client side. You will be learn. It's in a very big session today, and most of the important events, how to handle such events while it is rising from client side, we'll learn here. And I'll suppose to give you some ideology options to implement which are required to in your real-time programming. Let's begin the session. Yes. Now let's see here. Very simplified document it is for you. See here, in HTML DOM objects will allows you to calling the JavaScript options, so called it is object, to responding client side click events. A JavaScript can be executed when event is occurs. If I press the button of a submit button, and if I'm pressing called it is an event is rising, wants to take some action. Like when a user clicks an HTML element like a submit button, if he's a click the submit button and he wants to do something, so called I can say simply when he's trying to submitting or registering submit button by pressing the button, he want to validate the things. Like a text box is having only name characters other than 1 2 3 numbers and symbols. He can apply like a on click event there while submit button and for validations. At the client place itself, the data need not to render to the server and there to be validated. Even if the client page is loaded, we have implemented a JavaScript so-called using this type of events where the user is validating there itself. If the user wants to enter 10 digit or the number of digits of phone number, but unfortunately he is not entered the fulfill the correct number, but the digits he is not fulfilled, where it may be the standardization of 8 digits or 10 digit or the country wise specification the number. Yes, you can monitor by writing the JavaScript, and you can validate such type of activities in client side by using a simple JavaScript itself. By calling these type of simple functions, we'll use for this type of events. For the responding to the click, the title we have given for this lecture. Now we will see here the type of responding HTML events for an instance. See here, on user clicks the mouse, where the user is using to mouse and he is able to clicking the buttons and expanding the things and closing the something he wants to close the ads or any space we have provided to make the customer to inconvenient boxes. If you want to close, he can close the pop-ups and all. And we call it as an on mouse click events. And on page loaded, when the page is loading, if you type some URL and if you are redirecting to some other page where we have implemented JavaScript, there also on page load we'll try to load some components using JavaScript. And an image being loaded, when the image is loading, on load image, we'll try to implement some JavaScript to pop up something. And on mouse over element, if I place the mouse somewhere else, something it will be changed to some other thing, like a activity, and a button color may change, and color may pop up, and showing output as a flare. You can also put something there in information where you can put there. Likewise, input field unchanged. When you are typing something, when the cursor is moving some around from there to another place, there you can simply put it as in a validation part. When the cursor is moving from there to another place, when immediately you can check it yes, the text box is satisfied with the data, relevant data or not. Such type of script you can implement over here. And when a HTML form is submitted, like a so-called it is on a submit button, it is pressed. And a user key press change means he is trying to entering. We have a given for telephone number to be entered for a particular text box where he is trying to entering other than number called so-called it is an alphabets or it may be numbers. Sorry, it may be like a symbols or any special characters in your keyboard where if you are maintaining on key press change that event if you are catching and validating you are going to be allowing only the numbers, none of the other, means 0 to 9 only you are allowing. So you can validate the on key like a key press change. There you can restrict the user to allowing the number into this particular text box. That is the way we can very easy to grab like a user attention, and also we can put it as in a proper validations, and we'll collect the user's data without interruption and accurately will receive the data from the submission box. All right, now let's see here one by one. We will see here most of the things we'll cover. Let's initiate the session. The text content h1 element is here. When the change the user clicks, let's see what happens. The simple line I'm taking here. Let me like it is a called so-called it is an inline code. Okay, so I'll write for this few of the lines I can write. Rest of the things I can take from the document, and I'll make you like more examples I want to explain you. So I'll take them from the system. Okay, now let's see here. It is an h1 tag. It's fulfilled. Click here. That's it. This is the event is creating for on CLI on click change text on change text I have given, and something I have to give like just a second. This is the second function we have got it. Yes. For the instance at the beginning we are going to write inline code only. So this is the keyword we'll use for we are specifically telling to the JavaScript to the objects this particular DOM object is event is raised. It may be ID, name, it will be called. Okay, this you have to take in a keyword. Inner HTML. Okay, like that is the equal to something we have to add here called wow you click me. Like we'll see now how it is. Save it. Just simply see here the line h1 tag I have implemented with the inline code of JavaScript. On click I have used for the event. It is called on click. If I click this button, this h1 tag, click here and see here this dot inner HTML equal to will be assigned this text for that. Wow, you click me will be assigned and it will be changes when I press the on click only. Just see done this, save it, and reload. JavaScript also not require much more servers and all. With the plain HTML, it will be runs. Now responding to a click. Now see here, click here it is. When I press click this with the mouse, when I place here the place and click here, see, wow, you click me. This is the way. This is the easiest way you to like changing of your events of like client activities. When you write something like this on click event, if you want to do something like a wonders, maybe change the image or it maybe displays the image, you can specify the image over here. Whatever you want to present the information with the when the person is clicked, you can put it as like you can take a tables and different buttons. When the button is pressed, something you can display Amazing. Some secrets you can play. And also you can prepare for a simple game also, like a Minesweeper games. Where is the something what you are expecting? Yes, it's a you are one or you are not one. And likewise, you can prepare a game as well with using this such type of simple JavaScript. All right. Now we are jump start to handling events using functions. So here, handling events using JavaScript function. How it is with the same thing what I'm doing here. On click, I'm making this is the inline code. Here it is as of now. You have seen the same thing I'm changing to by calling a function. Now see here what I'm doing. I'm doing all the things within the on click. Now change text of of this means this keyword I'm transmitting. For this I'm implementing a function, JavaScript function is function function space. What is the name of the function? Change text text of the ID or something you can take it. This is going to assigning this function is going to called for this function. All right, what this is the event is here, it will be goes to assign this ID. So called it is in a parameter and object we can call it as. All right, now what it's going on, function usually will have an open and braces. This it is written here. Now we have to write within the function is what I want to do, like id dot inner html. The same thing I'm making is in a function. That's it. And terminate with the u, the simple data here. U, that's it. Save it, and you try to run it and you check it. The same result will be given you. Refresh. Just press the click. Wow, you clicked me. We have successfully completed our like a on click event. While raising the event, we are reached to JavaScript. Within the script, we have implemented a code of JavaScript function that the script we have to write within the head section. Let's say here the function change text function it is prepared. On click this change text this event we have called simply. When I press the click here button on header tag, it is called by this on click event, and this event is gone to this here, and ID it is saying that you clicked me, and inner.html this ID is returning the value called you clicked me is replacing the text. Such way, whenever you want to like a called like on click events in JavaScript, it's very simple. Like these type of very simple functions you try to practice at initial stage. One by one, you will learn very quickly. Now, on-click event handling. Now, the next lecture we are seeing here, like on-click event handling, how it is. See here, I'm taking very simple of the button. I'm taking here, and within the body, I'm taking here this the button. All right, one button I have taken within the function. What I'm doing here, the function is here like that. The same thing, the function. Display date function we are using on click display date. That's it. What is more than that? And this display date, where I am going to displaying here, one more p tag I have taken here. Now let's see here. I'll give you a simple explanation for this. See, this is the button I have taken for click here to check time now. See, the reloading of it. You see, click the button to display the date time zone now. Like click here to check time now button I have prepared. Very simply HTML only. Now let's see the button of click me here time zone now and with the button and on click event I have created. I'm calling display method. Display date function I'm calling. Method and call like a function both are same. Not to worry about it. And display date I am calling here. See, on function I have prepared for display date function. So call it is clear. Now what I am doing for the display date, I want to display like a show the date. When I press the button, my requirement is like this. When I press this button, I want to display a date to this paragraph tag. On I have created empty paragraph tag with ID of demo. Just simply I have a used for applying for ID of demo. Now what I am doing here, like a see get like a document dot get element by ID. You have to call the DOM objects like this. From HTML form to calling JavaScript, you have to use document dot get element by ID. With the ID, what is the ID I am assigning for this value? The paragraph ID. If it is something like a text box ID or label ID, whichever ID you want, you call it as like a document dot get element by ID, and the name of this string, especially for like this only, which is the capital letter and which is the small letter, you have to strictly follow the same rule. Otherwise, JavaScript may throw you some errors. Like on get, it's in a small letters, and E is in a capital element, capital B, BY, and capital ID. That's I get element by ID. It's a very so-called important. What is the ID? I'm called this demo. Here it is shown that paragraph demo ID. So it is the ID where this is the paragraph to be displayed for, like say dot inner HTML is common to display at the result at HTML form. Equal to this is the date is the default function for like JavaScript. Just I have applied for the date only. That's it. My requirement is to be displayed for some date around when I press the button click. This is over. By making the on click event, I'm calling the DOM object to the JavaScript and I'm presenting the date. So now save this and reload the form, refresh. I click on refresh or reload and click here to check now. Just click it, you will get the time. As per my standard time, it is Indian standard time. It is showing something Friday. This is the time it is recorded. How pretty easy to handle DOM objects. Go through it once. I have prepared a label here and a button I have inserted on click display date, and this is the button is ready. On click display date function I'm calling to JavaScript. It's in a display date, and any name you can place this. Not only the display date function, any name you can use. Document dot get element by ID. The ID is in a so-called it's in a demo. So we are able to calling this demo ID and assigning to the text some text to this paragraph ID of a paragraph with the help of this ID assigning to this. Simple way. If we are calling to this is the way we are going to assigning the like a DOM object to we are assigning the value. If we want to read the DOM object and we have to take the value means like it's a very simple like where we'll take some dt variable name I have defined as a dt and equal to like a document dot get element by id and this id. That's it. Reverse case opposite. That's it. If you want to read from the HTML form, if any data here value and you can assign like this and it will be get you like if you are calling some name text box is there, just put it as a name. That's it. What is the text within the name id, it is available in your HTML form, it will be read and it will be assigned to this, so call it is also name. That's it. The JavaScript will be handled the DOM object. If you want to validate, you can extend the validation functions and all the program in the JavaScript. And also you will learn how to debug the JavaScript in our upcoming next lectures. I'll show you how to, very simple. And as of now, we'll continue with this for more events. So called, it is the next event on change event. This is a very, very important. Well, very simple example we'll see here within the body part. For taking a less time, I'm taking the code directly copy. So we'll have a more explanation with that. Yes, this is the function. All you have understand a simple example one. So remaining all the functions will be like same thing, but the event we are changing. That's it. This is on change. On click, we are going to having like a click event we are raising. On change, when I'm changing the data into this particular like text box, it automatically changes. Let's see the sample example. Reload. Now name of the student I have a given label. Now see, just simply I have prepared an input box I have given with the text type text ID, if name. On change event I have raised here, and my function, I'm calling this function of JavaScript with the DOM object. Now see, earlier also I have explained you how to read from the text box from HTML element. See, document dot get element by ID. This is the ID I have a given, so it is calling by ID. If I am using here like a name equal to also like a f name if I given. Assume that here what you need to do instead of ID, you can use name. That's it. Get element by ID, get element by name. No, there is no difficult and differences between these two. The both are same. Either ID or name, any one you can use those things, and you can call the DOM objects, called interacting with the DOM objects of HTML. DOM object, you know that document object model. Let's remove here. Now save it by ID. I'm calling like this is the ID. Sorry, first ID. Now what it is doing? If I am getting the text from the HTML, like HTML form text box, where X I am assigning for this as a variable, and now see where X dot value I am doing to uppercase is a by default function in JavaScript. It's very important to know that dot to uppercase function predefined, which is the making if I'm pressing lowercase letter also, it will automatically converts you to making like a by default uppercase letters, where we are receiving a data all are uppercases only. And see now x dot value, it is showing that it's an uppercase value. That's it. Now let's see here how it is. Save it and refresh the page. Now see here when I press small letters. Okay, when I change like something I've typed there, this is the unchange, the function. The cursor, when I press the tab and like cursor is blinking there itself. See here it is visible very clearly. Cursor is blinking there itself. When I change the cursor by pressing the tab, it will automatically converts into uppercase. See here, that's it. When I press something, when I added something like here, something like when I am adding, but I don't know whether it is a capital or small. When I remove the cursor, like when I'm changing on change event, this is the on change event. When I taking the cursor to some other tab, some other way, or some other text box, if it is possible. See, when you press tab to input field, a function is triggered which changes the input text to uppercase letter. See, that's it. Excuse me. How pretty it is easy to change or using on change. Now let's see one more example. We'll see for on mouse over out. This is very so-called interest, like on change mouse over means when my mouse is not available, or on over, how it would be like change the things. For this we have an two functions. Can use for two functions over here. One is on mouse over, on mouse out. Let's see here. Something I have written in my div tag, mouse over me and mouse out for me. find the changes. Over me, find the changes, save it, and reload it. Now see here, this is the thing is here, right? And what I'm doing, on mouse over event I'm using here with the JavaScript event, like m over this. See, two functions like two events I'm using at a time with a single element. Yes, you can use multiple like events in a single HTML elements as well. Like on mouse over, this function is called m over. This means m over is my custom function name. You can put your name whatever you require. And the obj, the name I have given, like id also you can use anything like object I am calling. You done mouse over like obj.inline.html. Like if I remove the like my mouse from there, on out like a click on mouse over me, check on mouse over me. That's two things I have done, and one is on mouse over and one is on mouse out. These two events. Then see here the background color defaultly and the padding, the box for the purpose I have used that one. Okay, save it and reload the form. Check this. Mouse over me. Find the changes. If my mouse is here, see you done mouse over. If I remove, click on mouse over me. Check on mouse over. If I place, you done mouse over. If I remove, check on mouse over me. See how the view. See, if a mouse is placed, something is changed. Like not only the text, the entire the thing, like changing the shape of the button and changing the colors. And if you want to see the any output or pop-ups, you can check it. Many things you can do with the having of these things. All right. And one more thing I would like to explain you here. See here, along with this, you have something you have to practice on your hand. On load with the on page load and on focus. These are also too important. On focus means where you are getting an error, the cursor should be like making to be focus on error place itself. Somewhere around it shouldn't go. And on page load, the focus of the cursor at the beginning point of the text box and somewhere else is the cursor and the user wants to come there and he needs to press the button of like taking the cursor at the home like a position of entering the name, not a good sense of this thing. So you have to make like at least a single button, which is the first one, like username password. If he is trying to enter with the login page, you have to on focus on the cursor at a username entering place itself on loading of a form. That's all about our session about to like responding a click. It's a very great lecture. You have to practice more and more to handling of the HTML like with JavaScript events. Try to practice more and more. Wish you good luck. Thank you for watching this lecture. Thank you.